Welcome to my world where all is well. I'm the thinker who thinks the thoughts that create the things. I'm also the proud Queen Chief of Three Kings. Today is Friday, September the 8th, 2023, and it's currently 13:07 hours. Today I want to talk to you about a lawsuit that targets California police involved in racist text posts. A lawsuit was filed, Antioch police, racist text posts. They found over a dozen police officers involved with sending racist text messages towards each other. Let me show you how this all, tell you how this all got started. Then y'all can Google it and whatever you want to do with it. But while you're watching, please like, please share, please subscribe, please subscribe. Please turn on that notification bell. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. Okay, there was a Latino couple in Antioch, California. They were standing outside of a building. The Latino couple, it was him and his female fiance. And the police rode up on them and asked them what were they doing. And he said, I'm waiting for an Uber. If it was me, if I was the popo involved, I said, okay, just be safe out here. If you see anything suspicious, give us a call. Have a good day. Instead, for some odd reason, from the video footage I've seen, the Latino couple didn't look armed and dangerous, or even if they were armed. I don't know if you can be armed in California or have concealed permits or anything like that. I'm here in Georgia, but they didn't look like scary Freddy Krueger or anything. They literally looked like it looked like a neighbor was recording it from up high, like in a high rise. So from the angle I could see, it looked like they were just standing there. So the Latino couple began to walk away. But I guess Antioch Police Department don't teach their officers to let people walk away if they want to walk away, unless you have a warrant for their arrest or you have a reasonable suspicion to believe that they are being involved in a crime. As he began to walk away, a wonderful Antioch police officer decided to put him down on the ground. As he's down on the ground, his female fiance is screaming, "Get off of him, leave him alone, get off of him." And that's all she's doing. And as she's screaming, the officer pushes her. Now, I don't know a lot about being the popo. I can only say I played cops and robbers for 13 years, so I don't have as much experience as other officers. But when I was in the police academy, and every year we had to do training and update our legal procedures. And I don't recall in any of our training where pushing someone was allowed, unless, of course, when our life is in danger, then it's all holds bar. But I didn't see any situation where any of those officers' lives was in danger. We was waiting for an Uber. But the department itself, the Antioch Police Department, California, the department itself has a culture of racism. Now, those are not my words. Those are the words of Mr. John Gioia. I don't know if I'm spelling his name or pronouncing his name right, but his last name is Gioia. Golf India Oscar India Apple. And he's the Contra Costa County supervisor. So he supervises the district attorney, and the district attorney and the public defender are actually hiring dozens of more investigators just to investigate the arrests and warrants that these 12 dozen officers made to make sure that their arrest wasn't based on people's race or other prejudices and biases. This is a trip. They said they're spending $2 million a year just to hire special investigators to come into the police department. And a lot of these cases have to be thrown out because, according to the California Racial Justice Act, they have to prove that these officers was serving and protecting and arresting people without a race being involved. In other words, if you didn't lock up a white person for doing the same thing a black person did, then why did you lock up this black person? When I investigated this, I found out that you let a white person go for doing the same thing. Now, it was a Latino couple standing outside waiting for an Uber. Would these officers would have acted the same way if there was a white couple outside waiting for an Uber? Now, I don't know what time of day it was. I don't know if it was unreasonable for them to be standing out there. From the video, I couldn't tell, and they had street lights on, so I'm thinking it's evening, but it didn't look completely dark to me. But anyway, I don't see a reason why any officer would put someone on the ground for walking away from me. When I played Cops and Robbers, I can only remember one time I was talking to, it was a white male, I think it was at the Hilton. And when I came to approach him, he walked away. I had no reason to obtain him. Hilton called us on the scene because of a white male, suspicious white male that was intoxicated. I thought that was the one that was intoxicated, but turned out it wasn't even him. Now imagine if I would have been like, "Stop, sir, come back, sir, I'm taking out my taser, I'm gonna tase you." Imagine if I would have got all aggressive. He walked away, and in my mind, I had no reason to stop him. The security guard came out and then told us to come in. The white male that was intoxicated was inside of the hotel. Like, can you imagine the lawsuit or whatever that would have been involved if I would have been malicious in arresting him just for walking away from me? If I ain't got no warrant, well, I don't see a reasonable suspicion or probable cause to arrest you, I'm gonna leave you alone. Now, I have to be honest with you. Because it was the norm, and this is my personal thoughts. My personal thoughts is I believe that it was in the norm to be considered a good shift based on the number of arrests your shift made that night. Now, I happened to be privileged to be the sergeant of my shift. And so word got around to me that they considered my shift the lazy shift because we wasn't making the number of arrests or writing the number of tickets that other shifts have made. When I seen the tactics that other officers have made in order to make these arrests, now it's not something I choose to participate in. Okay, I'm not going to go up and harass somebody for walking. What are you doing? Now, I work the night shift. Now, there was times if I rode around, if I ride around and you sitting on the bench, okay, now I know MARTA has ended, the bus are no longer picking up people. I'll ride around one time, you sitting on the bench. Hey, how you doing? I'll keep it moving. I literally wave on them, turn my window down, wave at them, keep it moving. Now, let's say 15, 30 minutes, an hour later, I happen to come back around there and still there. Now I will pull over. And I say, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am." I'm very polite. I don't be aggressive. I don't get out of my car and say, "Hey, I rode around here 2 hours ago. Why are you still here?" I say, "Is there an issue? Is there something I can help you with? Why are you still sitting here?" And if they say I'm homeless or I'm waiting on the Uber or somebody, and then we deal with it accordingly. But I don't practice escalation situations. I practice de-escalation situations. Now, the same situation on another shift, in my opinion, I'm not saying this happened, I'm just saying a scenario, it could have went another way. Okay? But what I can say about what I do know about the department I previously worked for, if you have officers there who's saying the N-word or have no problem with the N-word being said, or if you have officers there who jumps on the back of black males as their hands are handcuffed behind them in front of their little daughter and saying the N-word, I think that's a culture of a racist environment. I agree with the superintendent of this county of Antioch, California. Racism and biases happens a lot in police departments. from my experience and from what I've heard from other police officers with other. And I want to say thank you so much also to my Queen Chief of Three Kings, CI's confidential informant, Secret Squirrel Society. Thank you for the emails. If you would like to send me something that you would like me to talk about, I keep my sources confidential. I never reveal my sources. You may email me at alliswell714-719@gmail.com. My email will be in the description of my YouTube channel. A lot of officers have witnessed and seen stuff, but they don't want to talk about it because they know that they'll be retaliated against, which I can understand. I was in that situation. I totally understand. But I thank God that the district attorney, the public defender, and the supervisor of the county in Antioch, California, have gotten involved with this police department. They have literally sent outside investigators into the police department to literally go over every single case. 12 police officers. 8 of those officers have already been taken off duty. But so far, they have found 12 officers where they have proven that they have sent racist text messages to each other. And they'll literally have to go back for years, the entire time they was on the force, and look at every single case to determine, was this arrest racially motivated, according to the California Racial Justice Act. So, for the victims involved, the Latino couple that was just waiting on the Uber, I don't know if the Uber ever showed up. I don't even know if I heard that they didn't even charge them with anything. I mean, the officers do all of this, didn't even charge with anything. Now you have a lawsuit. Their attorney is Mr. Stanley Goff. He's the Latino couple attorney, and he's saying that it was definitely racially motivated. So now, I mean, if any officer is listening to this and you want to respond, I leave my comments open. I always do, because I know when I talk about police departments, it can get controversial, and you might think differently than I do, and I don't have a problem with it. Maybe something I said that's wrong or in error. Correct me in the comments. I'm easy to talk to. Or maybe you see it a different way. Hey, like I said, my comments are open. Or if you want to send something to me privately, I check my emails ever so often. But now I have worked other professions besides being a police officer. I worked at the bankruptcy court in Columbus, Georgia. I worked at a Solomon's Dental Clinic on Fort Benning. My parents, Vets, thank you for your service, parents. That was on Fort Benning. And where else I've been working since I was 14, so I can't remember all the jobs I've worked. But anyway, out of all the jobs I have ever worked, I have never worked a job where the racism and the biases was so prominent and out front as when I was a cop. And I think that's sad to say. I think it should be the reverse. I think the police department should be the most diverse, inclusive, and equality place where anybody should be able to work. But they say the police department is the biggest gang in America. They went from being slave catchers to becoming police officers. There was this Nazi rally done a while ago. It's on YouTube. It was literally last week, I think it was done. Now, these Nazis who was wearing these swastikas, they allowed the media to interview them. So I saw it. It's on, I think, YouTube, CNN, I don't know. But Google it. It was a Nazi rally. I can't remember if they was in Florida or so. I think they was in Florida. But it's amazing to me how they was talking all big and tough. Now, it's a Nazi rally, but around the area, it seemed to be predominantly white, in my opinion. I've never been there. But I'm like, okay, if these Nazi rallies really want to get rid of black people, which they call the N-word, and they really want us to go back to Africa, why don't they come to where we at and protest? Yeah, that's the question I have for y'all, Nazi rally. Why don't you come to Atlanta with that Nazi rally? Why don't you come to Detroit, Chicago. Pick any predominantly black area and come have your rally. If you really believe in what you're saying. Now, my ancestors, our leaders, civil rights leaders, when they had their protests, they went in the black neighborhoods having protests. They went to the white neighborhoods, Salem, Alabama, Montgomery. They was being hosed down, beaten, and killed for civil rights because they really believed that was right. They weren't scared to confront the white Ku Klux Klan and the Nazis and the white people who wanted segregation and wanted us to be in slavery. Our civil rights leaders was bold enough to march into the territory that they wanted to correct and bring civil rights to. So, my advice to you Nazi people out there rallying, if you want to make change and you really believe we shouldn't be here, come to where we at and have your rally, and let's see how it goes. I'm not condoning any violence at all. I never will. You have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to bear arms in the state of Georgia, but I'm not condoning violence. All I'm saying is it's easy to be big, bad, and bold and talk all that junk y'all was talking about comfortably in a predominantly white neighborhood. You can talk about all the black people you want to in your comfortable surrounding. I'm just saying, if you want us, shouldn't we know that? Shouldn't you be protesting where we are at so we'll know, hey, this white brother, this white sister don't want us here. Let's see if we can talk about this and bring happiness to each other. Let's see what we can do about this. You know, they say that they came here. How you discover something that was already discovered is beyond me. Native Americans were already here. And the more research I've done, guess who else was here? Our ancestors, on our own free will. Research it, look it up. Africans were also here, along with Native Americans, before the so-called white man showed up. Now that they showed up and they're here, they saying that they built a system they feel that was better for this new land that they feel they found. We were all fine with our system. Just because you say you built a government and a system that seems to be going in the wrong direction, in my opinion. Someone was voted into office as president before our current president, and if the country's going in that direction, that's what y'all came over here to build. And then the January 6th riot, all them thugs, January 6th riot, all of them was thugs. And then we had, and here in 14 County, how many, I can't remember how many thugs, about a dozen thugs locked up. Man, why y'all not calling them thugs? They look like thugs to me. If you got a mud shot, I got to look up the definition of thugs now that I said this, but somebody put it in my comments. But anyway, the Antioch Police Department is under investigation because they have over a dozen police officers who have been found spreading racist text messages against each other. I'm not surprised, and I'm sorry to say I'm not surprised. Like I said, I work for a police department who I've experienced white officers saying the N-word. White officers showing pictures of the Obamas looking like monkeys and laughing at it, thinking it's funny. A police officer would come to work and have a picture of a monkey in a uniform taped to his door. We've got to do something to change this police culture. I don't know if making these videos is doing anything or not. I have no idea. But I'm continuing to talk about it and do my part as I feel it's right. Okay? I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for turning on that notification bell. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank God for you. All is well. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. May my whole life prove that God is good.